Some reports suggest that the Pope has had a surgery of sorts when he was quite young. Part of his lung was already removed, so he had these complications already, but he continued to serve, he continued to give these sermons, he continued to pass on the message of peace. Just yesterday, as you mentioned, he had been talking about peace in Gaza, so the messaging never stopped. He kept speaking about issues that plague the world, and in the end, he did pass on.
Right, we were talking about his prolonged illness, but prior to that, he was known for not taking any kind of holidays, even though he had such a frantic schedule, and that he repeatedly refused to reduce despite his advancing age and warnings from the doctors to slow down. But he continued his work, and you could see even on his very last day, he met with J.D. Vance, who is now here in India. But just 24 hours ago, while celebrating the festival of Easter Sunday, he spoke to him, and of course, J.D. Vance, also said that he was praying for the Pope every single day. And here, J.D. Vance has gone on to say, "My heart goes out to all the Christians who loved Pope Francis." Well, he was happy to see him yesterday. Through what he says was that he was very, very ill. And that, of course, J.D. Vance, while he met with Pope Francis, he said that he was praying for him every single day. That is the message that he had gone on to say. And of course, that he was very happy to have met him, while now he is asking for God for his soul to rest in peace. So basically, of course, J.D. Vance, they're reacting to the death of Pope Francis, who he met less than 24 hours ago while celebrating Easter Sunday in Italy. Of course, this was a very brief visit of the Pope. He, of course, did not address his usual address. This was very short visit, a fleeting visit of Pope Francis. But even in that, he had spread that message of love and unity, and asking for respect for people. And of course, that is something that he had totally focused on. He'd also, also wanted a greater role for women in the church, particularly in high-ranking Vatican positions. And that's when, in April of 2023, he announced that he had decided to give women the right to vote at an upcoming meeting of the bishops. So that is the role that he went on to play. He played a role when it came to the same-sex couples. That was a major change as far as the policy in the Vatican is concerned, by saying that the priest could bless the same-sex couples. He also spoke about, increasing the contribution of women. And it was a historic first and accomplished two goals: giving women greater decisions-making responsibilities and allowing people to have more say in the life of the church. That is, the kind of contribution that Pope Francis made and the kind of difference he made. We also have Father Brian. Let's go back to Royden Roach, ex-president of the Telangana State All India Catholic Union, joining us again back on the broadcast with us. Sir, take us through the contribution of Pope Francis. We've spoken about the role that he increased, the significant role that he increased as far as women are concerned, and their contribution as far as their voting rights are concerned. Also, when it came to the LGBTQ community, and giving the right and changing the policy when it came to same-sex couples as well.
Well, what we see at the moment is, we have seen even in his own office also, he has deployed a couple of women who are there, who are even administering as secretaries and all, who usually we never used to have them. But now even they are there, so it's a big change of that is happening. And we say about the LGBT community and all. So see, he believes that every person born on the earth is a creation of God. So whatever happens to them, they have to be a part of the community. So you can't just try and discard somebody away. So he wanted to bring everyone closer to the church and maybe make a reform in them, change in them. So that plays a very significant role, for other person. And he was very humble, very down to earth. We even seen his interaction with the media. And every time he traveled, he had a huge number of people from the press who he always spoke to, and spoke about various aspects also of the people and the development. So these were the many changes that happened. And as I said, the synodal meet today, there's a lot of involvement of the lay community also. Every person from the lay community, we are given options to even suggest also, and all this is put together, and that's the reason why it is still because of the reforms they wanted in the church. So that's what he was looking for, and that's what we were very proud of him. And he stood for the values of people, for every individual, every from any community they come from, or whatever line they come from. He always was trying to encourage them. And we even seen about the sick also. He used to visit the sick very often also, go to the hospitals, meet people there. He was very concerned about the Middle East, what's happening. Even he used to call one of the churches over there in the Middle East every day. It was a routine for him to ask about the issue of Palestine, what's happening in the Gaza Strip, and all. So there are a lot of things that he kept informed. He has even spoken to people of the leaders of the world. In the G-Summit also, when he was present recently in France, he mentioned a lot about the peace process in the Middle East and what should be done. He has spoken many times to the Israel Prime Minister also.
Right.
Who was there. We have seen that he has met our Prime Minister also, and that was very warm meeting that was, even it is flashing on the screen now.
Absolutely.
Where, a big hug and all from the Prime Minister. But what we feel as a Christian community, that the Prime Minister didn't live to what he portrayed himself for there.
Absolutely, sir. We can see visuals playing out of that meeting that took place between Prime Minister Modi and Pope Francis. And of course, Prime Minister Modi has reacted to the death, of course, saying that he's deeply pained by the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis in this hour of grief and remembrance. My heartfelt condolences to the global Catholic community. Pope Francis will always be remembered as a beacon of compassion, humility, and spiritual courage by millions across the world. From a very young age, he devoted himself towards realizing the ideals of Lord Christ. He diligently served the poor and the downtrodden. For those who were suffering, he ignited a spirit of hope. I fondly recall my meeting with him and was greatly inspired by him, is what Prime Minister Modi has said in a message on social media site X. His affection for India's people will always be remembered, is what Prime Minister Modi has gone on to say. Let's just get you more news coming in, and this is in regard to West Bengal's Chief Minister now hitting out at West Bengal's Chief Minister over the violence in Murshidabad's district concerning the Waqf Amendment Act. It is BJP leader and Union Minister Sukanta Majumdar who alleged that she was importing a situation similar to that in Bangladesh. She was playing that out in West Bengal. So he said if Mamata Banerjee stays, then partition will happen. Mamata Banerjee must step down. Those are the allegations that are being made while the Chief Minister met with the governor. So that is the accusation and the allegations that Union Minister Sukanta Majumdar is alleging against the Chief Minister, saying that well, it is Mamata Banerjee who's recreating a lighter version of Bangladesh in West Bengal. Listen in.
इस तरीके का मानसिकता का चीफ मिनिस्टर पश्चिम बंगाल में रहेगा तो सोहरावर्दी पार्ट 2, गेट कलकत्ता की लिंक्स पार्ट 2 और पश्चिम बंगाल का विभाजन तय है। तो इस मुख्यमंत्री इस चीफ मिनिस्टर को कुर्सी से हटाना ही एकमात्र सलूशन है। नहीं, हमारी भी सवाल वही है कि ममता बनर्जी शुरू से कह रही है कि इनको लौटाओ। ममता बनर्जी का प्रेशर है डीएम के ऊपर, एसपीए के ऊपर, दोनों डिस्ट्रिक्ट का, लेकिन लौटाया गया, लेकिन लोग रहेंगे कहाँ? रहने की जगह नहीं है, घर तोड़ दिया गया, जला दिया गया, तो ये लोग रहेंगे कहाँ? रहने की जगह कोई नहीं है।
Let's just switch tracks. In regard to the West Bengal violence in Murshidabad, the Supreme Court now wrapping the petitioners. Do remember there were two pleas that were being heard by the Supreme Court today, and the pleas sought a court-monitored probe. Now, the Supreme Court is questioning the grounds of those petitions. The top court warns the petitioner, says they don't really want to push with these pleas only to stay in the news. That is what the Supreme Court has said, while allowing the petitioners to file fresh pleas. The Supreme Court has declined to pass any directions on the pleas seeking deployment of paramilitary forces in West Bengal in light of the violence that broke out in Murshidabad. Nupur joining us. Nupur, take us through what really has the court said today.
And yes, the top court has in fact was today hearing two petitions that were filed by two lawyers as PIL seeking court intervention, court-monitored probe in the incidents of violence at Murshidabad. However, the court, at the outset, one of the lawyers, Advocate Vishal Tiwari, he himself requested the court to withdraw the petition as he felt there were some amendments that were needed in his petition. Second lawyer who was there before the court requested the court to tag his petition along with a similar matter that is coming tomorrow. But what is important today is that the top court made very harsh observations about these both petitions. The top court said that they were in fact poorly drafted and were filed without any research. The top court said that it is good that they want to come up and bring up cases of people in the top court, but they must be with the intention to help the public, but not to play to the gallery of media outside. And they just rushed into, it appeared the court said they rushed in to file the petitions without doing their research, proper research. So the court, after coming down heavily on the second lawyer, allowed him to also withdraw and file a fresh amended petition where it is in fact clear that what parties he is including in his prayer, what are his prayers when it comes to the exact Murshidabad violence. So no hearing as such could happen when it comes to the violence that occurred in Murshidabad, as the petitions were drafted very poorly. Now, tomorrow there is a likelihood of the Supreme Court taking up another petition with regards to the violence that occurred there. And the prayer in that petition has been of imposition of a president's rule and deployment of paramilitary force, keeping in mind the law and order situation. Now, it will be important to see that what the top court says tomorrow.
Right, of course, that is in regard to the paramilitary forces being deployed in the area. But also, Nupur, stay with us, of course, in regard to the top court making repeated references. The court's observation when it comes to criticism. Well, the Supreme Court has, of course, gone on to say that criticized for the interference in execution. And this is something as far as the observations are concerned in two separate cases.
Yes, in fact, today first at the outset when this petition that is coming up tomorrow for hearing with regards to West Bengal was mentioned today by in front of the bench headed by Justice B.R. Gavai. The bench observed that already how can the petitioner ask the bench to pass such a direction to the president to impose a president rule in a state when already the Supreme Court is facing these allegations of interfering with the executive's domain and legislature's domain. So it was indeed a very strong remark. And now, while hearing in other petitions where the same lawyer, Vishnu Shankar Jain, was appearing for another petitioner where they had in fact sought regulation or a ban on obscene content on Netflix, and they had alleged that OTT platforms like Netflix, Alt Balaji are showcasing pornographic content. So while hearing this petition, the top court said that it is in fact, if regulations are to be brought in, it is in legislature's domain. And while hearing this, they again remarked that what is falling in executive and legislature's domain, you are bringing it to us, then again you will say that we are interfering. So it was said in jest, but it is quite clear that the top court is not letting go of these remarks, and it will keep reminding people that it is well aware of the comments that are being made against them. And as we have discussed that previously, just over the weekend, several petitions have been filed seeking contempt of court against Nishikant Dubey, the BJP MP. So it will be interesting to see how things unfold from here on.
Right, Nupur Dogra, thank you so much for getting us all those details in regard to these observations made in court today. Let's just get you more news, and this is in regard to West Bengal, but now this is in regard to the teachers' protest. So the teachers have resumed their protest in Kolkata, wanting a separate list of tainted candidates. The teachers have now given a deadline of 6 o'clock this evening. The teachers of West Bengal have continued their protests across the state even after the Supreme Court on the 17th of this month allowed untainted teaching candidates to continue working until the West Bengal School Service Commission completes its fresh recruitments, and that too by the 31st of December this year. They are now demanding a separate list of those who are tainted candidates, and a deadline has also been set for later this evening. Now, Congress leader and leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, has called on Congress-ruled states to implement the Rohit Vemula Act to combat caste-based discrimination in educational institutions. Building on his previous appeal to Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, Rahul Gandhi has now written to Himachal Pradesh's Chief Minister and also the Chief Minister of Telangana, urging them to take the lead in enacting the act. And now the BJP has lashed out at the Congress MP and the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, over his recent comments in the United States. Do remember, he was at the Brown University, and while interacting with the students, Rahul Gandhi had reiterated his voter fraud charge linked to the Maharashtra elections that took place last year. While addressing students at the Brown University in Boston, he alleged that the Election Commission is compromised. The BJP, fuming over his remarks, labelled him as a traitor and accused him of deflecting frustrations over the probes of the Enforcement Directorate into the National Herald case onto the Election Commission. The BJP has called him a serial offender and an agent of George Soros and accused him of defaming the country, while the opposition party insisted its rivals cannot always cry defamation.
In simple terms, more people voted in the Maharashtra Assembly elections than there are adults in Maharashtra. This is the fact. And the Election Commission gave us a figure, voting figure, for 5:30 in the evening. And between 5:30 in the evening and 7:30 in the evening, when the poll was supposed to have closed, 65 lakh voters voted. Now, that is physically impossible to happen. It is very clear to us that the Election Commission is compromised. It's very clear that there is something very wrong with the system.
आज वो विदेश की भूमि में जाकर भारत और भारत के महान लोकतंत्र को अपमानित कर रहे हैं, उसे बदनाम कर रहे हैं। राहुल जी अमेरिका में जाके इलेक्शन कमीशन को कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड बताते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि महाराष्ट्र के चुनाव में जिस प्रकार का मतदान हुआ वो एक तरह से फर्जीवाड़ा था। महाराष्ट्र में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को और उनके अलाइज को जीतना नहीं था और कहीं ना कहीं इलेक्शन कमीशन ने हमारे साथ समझौता किया। मैं राहुल जी से पूछना चाहता हूं, राहुल जी, झारखंड भी तो उसी समय चुनाव हुआ था। क्या आपने इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ झारखंड में समझौता किया था? क्या प्रियंका वाड्रा ने रॉबर्ट वाड्रा की मध्यस्थता से इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया, तभी उसकी जीत हुई? यू आर अ ट्रेटर। राहुल गांधी ट्रेटर हैं।
BJP spokesperson, they have nothing much to talk. Whatever Rahul Gandhi has spoken in Boston, that is all reality. Whether he spoke about the Maharashtra elections, the discrepancies during the process of election commission, this against this we have also gone to the court. The issues are pending in the court also. So whatever Rahul Gandhi has spoken, that is the fact. And BJP, you know, they just are doing some lip service to please their masters, like Sambit Patra. If he wants to please the Prime Minister or his party president, he is using such words, and which we have also seen how the other member parliaments of BJP have been talking roughly like this. As far as that issue is concerned, National Herald case, law will take its own course. And earlier also, whenever the agencies have called Rahul Gandhi ji or Srimati Sonia Gandhi, they have gone there and they have answered all the questions. I don't think so there is much left in National Herald case. These are mere, speculations, and these are vindictive ideas or vindictive things of BJP for which, they want to target Congress party, malign the image of Congress leaders, nothing beyond that. So the law will take its own course, and if they are talking about corruption, let me also remind them that BJP had taken Ajit Pawar into their fold. They had taken other corrupt leaders like Hemanta Biswa Sarma, whom BJP was only saying that he's a pani chor. They had labeled him as a pani chor. They made him the chief minister. Suvendu Adhikari was called Bhag Suvendu Bhag. Then he was made the leader of opposition in West Bengal. Likewise, Narayan Rane, likewise Chhagan Bhujbal, Hassan Mushrif in Maharashtra. Prime Minister 48 hours ago, he spoke against NCP and he said it is natural corrupt party, and he said Ajit Pawar has done 70,000 corruption. And then after 2 days, he made Ajit Pawar his alliance partner as well as the finance minister of Maharashtra.
Now let's get you the latest in a very stunning twist when it comes to the murder case of the former Karnataka Director General of Police, Om Prakash. The investigation has revealed that the former DGP was stabbed with 2 knives, a glass bottle used to carry out the attack, and after the murder, the wife called another cop's wife and confessed that she had murdered her husband. The questioning of the wife and daughter lasted over 12 hours are the kind of details that are emerging in the case. Do remember, it was the son who had filed a formal complaint alleging that both his mother and sister may have been involved in the death of his father. Deepak joining us to get us more on this. Deepak, take us through the chilling details that have emerged in this particular case of the former DGP.
Well, definitely some gory, ghastly details that have been emerging as far as the investigation is concerned. You know, as we speak, the mortal remains were taken for a cremation, but the investigation continues. The wife and the daughter continue to remain in police custody. We are told in the next couple of hours an official announcement is going to be made about a formal arrest in the case. The wife in all likelihood is going to be arrested. The role of the daughter is being looked into. You know, right now they're going to, of course, verify information that is going to come in from the FSL as well pertaining to whether there were fingerprints on, the body of Om Prakash, the retired top cop of Karnataka. More importantly, we've learned some more startling information about what happened during the crime, what happened after as well. To give our viewers more information here, what we are learning from sources is that about 3 months ago, there was another assault that was carried out on Mr. Om Prakash by his wife. She had used a stone to beat him. He had sustained injuries on his head. After which, of course, he did have fears. His family members had fears, and they did suggest that he not stay in the same house. In fact, yesterday, he was not even at his residence in the morning. He was staying at his sister's house for the last couple of days, and he was asked to come to the residence to have lunch in the afternoon. And then, after a couple of hours, there was an argument that took place, and eventually there was chili powder that was thrown at him, and then there was an attempt to tie him up. 2 knives were used to stab him, and finally he, of course, succumbed, and a video call was made. First, an audio call was made to the wife of a police officer saying that, she had, finished off the monster. Then a video call was made to prove that she had actually indeed killed him. So you can just imagine, how brutal this act was. Now we are also learning that the wife was suffering from a mental illness. She was schizophrenic, and she was also getting treatment for the same. Whether all of this led to the crime, what was the intention behind it, all of this, of course, the investigations will reveal. The police remaining quite tight-lipped because of high profile this case is. But in the next couple of hours, we're expecting an announcement pertaining to the arrest.
Right. Thank you so much, Deepak, for joining us with those details. We will keep tracking that story and coming back to you for more on that. For now, slipping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more. Stay with us.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
have been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail.
Let's get you the latest in regard to the flash floods in Jammu and Kashmir's Ramban. Well, it has claimed 3 lives destroyed, 200 homes and roads have also been damaged. NDTV reports from Ramban. This is the highway trail of destruction that has left behind roads that turned into rubble and vehicles have been buried. Now citizens have remained stranded and power stations have been wrecked due to torrential rains that wreaked havoc in the area. The Chief Minister Omar Abdullah says the focus is on restoration, restoring the highway. Do remember the highway between Srinagar and Jammu has remained shut. Schools and colleges have remained shut as well. Heavy rainfall caused by cloud bursts led to flash floods in the area, resulting in the death of these people, and widespread damage has been noted in the area. While all schools are shut, the army has organized a langar for the stranded people.
कल मैंने मौके पे डिप्टी सीएम साहब को भेजा था। मुकामी जो हमारे एमएलए 2 हैं रामबन के और बानीहाल पे के, वो भी मौके पे मौजूद हैं। कोशिश की जा रही है कि फौरी तौर जो है एक तो हाईवे को हम रिस्टोर करें। हाईवे के रेस्टोरेशन के साथ साथ जो रेजिडेंशियल एरियाज़ इन पसियों में जो है बह गए हैं उनको हम किसी तरह जो है रिस्टोर करें। रिलीफ जो है उसका इंतज़ाम किया जा रहा है और मरकज़ से बात की जा रही है कि नेशनल डिज़ास्टर फोर्स जो है उनको भी वहाँ पे मौके पे भेजा गया है। प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स रिलीफ फ़ंड और बाकी रिलीफ फ़ंड्स को भी टैप किया जाएगा ताकि जहाँ जहाँ नुकसान हुआ है उस नुकसान का मुआवजा जो है लोगों को मिले।
Well, massive landslides has closed Srinagar Jammu National Highway for last 3 days. This highway, which is a lifeline for Kashmir Valley, remains closed, and there's no hope that it may be restored today. It may take few more days, given the amount of landslides which have come on the roads, which have blocked the roads. You can see here, and these machines are trying to clear the road, at least partially restore this road link. So this is the amount of slush and which has come on this road, and they are working very hard to ensure the road is restored as soon as possible. But you can see the amount of slush, boulders, all that has come. This is at least 20 feet high. So it's not an easy task. One officer was telling me at least it will take 3 more days to restore this road link, because there have been same massive landslides at multiple places in Ramban, this Ramban area. Several shops and business establishments have been buried, they have been completely damaged. 3 people, including 2 siblings, have died in this landslide. So this is the kind of story here. Large number of people have been stranded here on this road, and you can see, I can show you here, many people are actually walking several kilometers to reach because this road, which is in the middle, this Baramban section, remains closed. So these people are waiting here till the time it is cleared. So difficult time for the people, where some of them have been helped by the army. They were given food. Administration has also tried to reach out to them, but many people remain stranded for last 3 days. So it is going to take time. As I said, it may take at least 2 to 3 more days to clear these landslides from this highway.
Thank you so much, Nasir, for getting us that ground report as far as that cloudburst is concerned. For now, we're slipping a short break. Back with a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
More news that matters.
Big exclusive. Tulsi Gabbard.
All the parties should accept their verdict with all humility.
Why the opposition to it? Why taking big steps?
More debates that shake the system. More exclusives you won't find anywhere else. Not just another prime time.
Hello and welcome to The Southern View. I'm Veera Raghav.
This is the news break and I'm Vasudha Venugopal. This is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil.
Left, right and centre, and good evening and welcome.
It's a prime time that's unmissable.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
The last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong,
right.
And transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
Welcome back. Now is US Vice President J.D. Vance, who along with his wife Usha and their 3 children landed at the Palam Air Base this morning at about 10 o'clock this morning. The family was received by Ashwini Vaishnav, the Union Minister, while Vance was accorded the ceremonial guard of honor. But what really stole the show was the outfits of the children. They emerged from the plane wearing, the boys were in kurtas and their daughter Mirabel was in something that looked like a lehenga or perhaps an anarkali with a jacket. So those 3 children in the Indian outfits really stole the show. This is, of course, the first official visit to India, a visit by a US Vice President after 12 years. The last time it was Joe Biden when he was a Vice President in 2013. The US Vice President visited the Akshardham Temple along with his family. He will be meeting with Prime Minister Modi, and that's expected about 6:30 in the evening, with talks likely to focus on an early finalization of the proposed bilateral trade pact and ways to bolster the ties between the two countries. We are expecting Ajit Doval as well as S. Shankar, amongst others, to be there at that meeting. The timing of J.D. Vance's India visit is critical as it comes amid a global trade war after the US announces punishing reciprocal tariffs.
The pink city of Jaipur is prepping for the Vice President's visit here. And of course, the first place that they will be visiting will be this beautiful 12th century fort, which is the Amer Fort. Now, there's going to be a very special welcome that's been planned for them. These are nagaras or traditional drums behind me, and they are not played very often, but whenever they are played, it's a solemn occasion, it's a ceremonial welcome. So nagaras will be played, and they have a very deep resonance, a very, very deep drum beat that actually echoes right across the mountains. You can see how beautiful the Amer Fort is. It's set among the Aravalli range. That right in front is the Ganesh Pole. That's the main entrance to the fort. And there is, of course, the other entrance, which is called the Chand Pole. And here, right here, is the Jaleb Chowk. Now, the Vice President and his family will be greeted by the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. There will be a slew of folk performances going on here. After being welcomed here, the Vice President, his wife, Usha Vance, and the 3 children will go into the Amer Mahal. There will be a red carpet put out for them, and they will go and see, as you can see from here, the very beautiful entrance to the Mahal, and then there is the Diwan-e-Aam, the Diwan-e-Khas. There is the beautiful Sheesh Mahal inside the Amer Fort, which has more than 1,000 mirrors, where the famous film Mughal-e-Azam was shot. So as they go from one courtyard into the other, from one mahal into the other, there will be these, instrumental performances. So a grand welcome being planned for Vice President Vance here in Jaipur. And of course, it's this beautiful historic 12th century Amer Fort that will be first on the agenda for the Vice President and his family.
Right, Harsha, of course, he will be in Jaipur at 9:30 this evening. But before that, of course, he will be meeting Prime Minister Modi for that very crucial meeting coming up at 6:30. For now, we're slipping in a short break. Back with a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru, only on NDTV 24/7.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters?
Pope Francis has died on Easter Monday at the age of 88 after a prolonged illness. The Catholic world mourned the passing of the people's Pope as tributes pour in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays tribute, says deeply pained by the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis. Heartfelt condolences to the global Catholic community. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance in India on a 4-day visit. The focus on trade, tariffs and ties. The U.S. Vice President will be meeting Prime Minister Modi today evening. A row over Rahul Gandhi's comment in the United States, where he had hit out at the Election Commission. The BJP says Rahul is a traitor, defaming the poll body abroad. The Congress hits back, says BJP has no right to cry defamation. Did a property dispute lead to the murder of the former DGP of Karnataka? The police have said that ex-DGP's wife has confessed to the murder and he was stabbed with 2 knives. That chili powder was also thrown at him.
A road to nowhere. Srinagar-Jammu National Highway is closed for last 3 days.
3 dead, homes and shops destroyed after the flash floods and cloudburst in Jammu and Kashmir in the Jammu region. Chief Minister Omar says the focus is now on restoring that key highway. Our top story, Pope Francis has died at the age of 88. This is after prolonged illness, and it was announced by the Vatican a short while ago. The pontiff, who was the first Latin American leader of the Roman Catholic Church, became Pope in 2013 after his predecessor, Benedict XVI, resigned. Pope Francis died on Easter Monday at his residence in Vatican's Casa Santa Marta. He became the Pope at the age of 76, and he moved quickly to make an impact. In fact, tributes have been pouring in from across the world. Over 12 years, the Pope had reorganized the Vatican's bureaucracy, written 4 major teaching documents, made 47 trips to more than 65 countries, and created more than 900 saints. Among major decisions that Pope Francis had taken, he had allowed priests to offer blessings to same-sex couples on a case-by-case basis, also appointed women to serve as leaders of the Vatican offices for the very first time. So mourning really, and condolences and tributes pouring in after this news broke of Pope Francis passing away. Remember, his health had been a matter of concern for quite some time, and Prime Minister Modi also posted on the Pope's passing, saying that saying he deeply pained by the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis. He says heartfelt condolences to the Catholic community is what the Prime Minister said about Pope Francis, remembered as a beacon of compassion. Now, on the occasion of Easter Sunday, just yesterday, Pope Francis had appeared at Vatican St. Peter's Square to wish Happy Easter to thousands of worshippers who had gathered there, who were hoping for a glimpse of the Pope and not realizing it would be the last glimpse ever of the Pope, that too on Easter Sunday. He came out in a wheelchair. He had waved from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to the crowds below, and he said, "Dear brothers and sisters, Happy Easter." In fact, he also then, his address was read out. It was a highly anticipated appearance on Easter Sunday, as he had been discharged from a hospital just last month after 5 weeks of treatment for an infection that led to double pneumonia. He also spoke about, he gave an Easter message, speaking about the situation in Gaza, saying it was dramatic and deplorable. The Pope also called on Palestinian militant group Hamas to release remaining hostages and condemned what he said was a worrisome trend of anti-Semitism. He said, "I express my closeness to the sufferings of all the Israeli people and the Palestinian people." So that was the Pope's last message on Easter Sunday.
ഫ്രാൻസിസ് മാർപ്പാപ്പ കത്തോലിക്ക സഭയ്ക്ക് നൽകിയ നേതൃത്വമുണ്ട്. ലോകത്തിന് മുഴുവനായി എല്ലാ മനുഷ്യർക്കുമായി നൽകിയ നേതൃത്വമുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ സമൂഹത്തിൽ സാധാരണ നിലയിൽ നാം കാണാതെ പോയ ആളുകളെ കണ്ടെത്തിയ ഒരു നേതൃത്വമുണ്ട്.
Well, let's go across to Sunil Prabhu, who joins us from Delhi, and Shreyasi joining us from the St. Paul Church in Kolkata. And Sunil, first to you, very sad news coming the day after Easter, the Pope's, Pope Francis's last appearance, and he gave, very characteristic of him, the message on Easter of speaking about the sufferings of the people of Gaza, talking about Israel as well, anti-Semitism. And now the news coming after this prolonged illness, the Pope passed away this morning.
That's right, Gargi. I think what his statements yesterday really, in a sense, symbolizes his 12 years of papacy. He was the first Jesuit, as well as, the Pope from Latin America after many centuries to really take charge of the entire, what they call, being the Bishop of Rome, heading a 1.4 billion Catholics in terms of, giving spiritual guidance and how they go forward. Played a critical role. He came at a time when Pope Benedict, did something which had not been done for many, many centuries. At that time, deciding to retire while in office, and that really created, to a great extent, two popes in Rome up to 2022 when he passed away. But Pope Benedict did give him complete control, and he did put his stamp, as we've seen, taking on the conservatives who really represented, Pope Benedict, who was then known as Cardinal Ratzinger from Germany, and really to ensure that, as you've been pointing out, be it gay rights, allowing women to play a critical role in the church. These are some of the important points that Pope Francis played an important role. He said very categorically in one of his first interviews, "Who am I to judge about whether, it's a sin to be gay or not?" And it's in that kind of response that, Pope Francis ensured that the infighting within the Vatican, didn't draw him down. He was a revolutionary in many ways, wanting to be a harbinger for change, for world peace, fighting for justice. In way, be it gender justice, be it the humanitarian crisis, be it the immigrant issue. So it's in that backdrop that definitely the Church and those who follow Pope Francis will say it's an extremely sad day as they mourn his passing away. But as you rightly pointed out, he was unwell and lived to a ripe age of 88 years. So he has definitely seen an important phase, and it's in that backdrop that now the princes of the Catholic Church, the cardinals, who will be less than 80, will now have to choose a successor. They will meet in the next 2 weeks, and it's in that process that once that process starts in the Sistine Chapel, where it will be a closed door, it's sworn to secrecy, that the cardinals will have to elect somebody unanimously. It has to be not, when they say unanimous, it has to be at least 2/3 majority, and only then do they, get the white smoke, which symbolizes the election of the new Pope. But whoever it is will definitely be progressive, because Pope Francis has actually chosen whoever is going to be those cardinals and who will decide his successor.
That's right, and Pope Francis was considered an outsider when he was, surprisingly at that time, I remember Sunil elected as the Pope, and the first Pope from Latin America, and after centuries a non-European Pope, and there's already speculation that perhaps the next one could be an insider. We don't know. Shreyasi, it's very sad news. You're there outside the St. Paul Church. Tell us what's happening there.
Well, the Archdiocese of Calcutta has issued a statement, and in it reads that he was a pope who walked with the people, listening, embracing and challenging us to live out the true meaning of love and discipleship. His deep personal humility, tireless service and the radical simplicity echoed the heart of Jesus Christ, and the legacy of St. Francis So this is indeed a very solemn occasion. Of course, yesterday happened to be his final sighting there at the St. Peter's Square when he came out to address the people. He did pass on that speech to the Cardinal to read out, but his, last presence there at the Vatican, of course, very significant. Here in Kolkata, of course, the churches are, yet to come out in whole press services in memory of the Pope, but a solemn occasion indeed, giving the message of change, leadership. Pope Francis was, of course, one such leader amongst the Catholic community who had also fought for climate change and interfaith dialogue. He visited several countries and even, signed certain memorandum with those countries, keeping, the door open for dialogue, and really changed the way the religion was being seen at that point in time. But of course, we are waiting for a statement from the Archbishop of Calcutta. At around 4 p.m., he will be issuing a statement regarding the passing away of Pope.
All right. Thanks so much, Shashi and Sunil, for joining us on this day when this news has broken of Pope Francis passing away. Pope Francis no more after a prolonged illness that he had that also led to double pneumonia. We're now joined by Dr. John Dayal, Catholic Union spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining us. And sir, your thoughts. And how do the Pope Francis has been described by many as one of the most compassionate popes. He was a pope of many firsts. Your sentiments at this time?
I think common Catholics such as I feel that we have lost a personal friend. To call the Pope a friend is a big thing because his outreach to us as a human person, reconveying to us the Jesus Christ teaching of loving each other. That was the first and the foremost thing that he brought to the world. And he used that to try to reach out and restore peace between nations, try to restore peace between religions, try to restore peace between man and nature. And I think that was his single strong strength. This outlier from Latin America, although he was of Italian descent, but he was a Latin American in his love for football and his love for Spanish. He came, nobody knew him at that time, and very rapidly he won the heart of the world, which is not an easy thing. Yes. The world is a cynic. World leaders are cynics. They have seen high and mighty come and go. But to have reached out to each one of them, to have shown his own innate strength in his convictions. He was strong in his convictions. He never faltered from what he believed was the right thing to do, or the right thing to say. And because the world saw him as somebody who was true to his own ideals, that they then responded to him as somebody they could trust, because he was not a wavering person. He was not somebody who would change overnight his stance on people. He braved criticism within the church. He braved contempt, anger of people who didn't like his outreach, let us say to the homosexuals, people who did not like his outreach to the Muslims, people who did not like his criticism of Israel's attack on Gaza. He braved all of that and braved them with a smile on his face, because he was true to himself and true to his love of God and why he loved Jesus Christ as much as he did.
We're also joined by Dolphy D'Souza, President of the Bombay Catholic Sabha. Thank you so much for joining us. A very sad day, sir. Your thoughts, and we were just talking about how compassionate Pope Francis was, how there were so many, he made the church more inclusive, be it the blessing of, same-sex unions or wanting women to have, be allowed to have higher positions within the Vatican.
First of all, yes, it's one of the saddest days, not only for the Catholic community, but for the world at large. We consider Pope Francis as a Pope of the poor. It has been a very clear focus of options for the poor, for the marginalized. But add to that, besides his words, his deeds also spoke very powerfully in terms of leading by example, of giving a direction to the Catholic leadership to be humble, to be reaching out to the marginalized sections of society. That was point number one. Point number two, essentially was openness in terms of accepting diversity and consistently working with other communities, other religious groups to build up what we call a peace advocacy, working together. The third thing was he eschewed violence. Constantly, he spoke very courageously and bravely in terms of the wars that were happening, whether it was Ukraine and Russia, or for that matter, Palestine and Israel, constantly calling that violence has no place in this civilized world. And the most other interesting part of leading by example was his concerns for the environment, which he consistently spoke about, motivating not only the community, but other communities across the world. And he led by example. And that's the best part for people to follow what he stood for and constantly lived for. So for us, it's a loss of a very, very great spiritual leader who led us from the front.
Absolutely, sir. Really, as you said, it's not just the Catholic community that's in mourning, but indeed the world, to lose a leader who was so outspoken, didn't shy away, as you said, on speaking on several perhaps controversial issues, taking a stand, and very, very compassionate. Thank you both for joining us on NDTV. And let's just take a look at some of the other reactions coming to this sad news of the passing away of Pope Francis.
We are being joined by Father Matthew Koikal, the CBCI Deputy Secretary General, with us of the Sacred Heart Church at Goldarkhana. Let's go straight to him. Sir, Vatican has just announced that the Holy Pope has just passed away. What are your thoughts on Pope's legacy and his impact on the Church?
Holy Father Pope Francis was a great human being, I would say. He was a great man who literally fought and talked for the peace in the world. He was courageous enough to tell the world to come on the way of the peace. Only the peace can save the world. And that was his greatness. And he never made any compromise where he dealt with the issue of peace. And he told the world leaders that they should come on the way of peace rather than going on the way of war. And he very firmly stated that the world can attain peace only through dialogue and not through any type of war.
So we are given to understand that you had a personal audience with the Pope. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have met the Holy Father twice. Once in an audience where we were a group of priests who met him. Then second time I met him and I celebrated Holy Eucharist with him at Casa Saint Martha, which is his residence. And very close communication with him. And I stayed with him and I had a photo with him. And we had a conversation between each other. And, I could get a vibe of, inspiration and also kind of encouragement. And his love was tremendous, while talking and while making a small joke and also giving me blessing. I can never forget that precious moment.
All right, well, moving on to some breaking news now coming in over the controversial YouTube show, India's Got Latent. Remember, it had come under scrutiny after certain remarks were made during the show. But now the Supreme Court has expressed concerns over remarks by another comedian on the show, Samay Raina. This is in regard to certain jokes that he made about disabled people. So it's more trouble there for Samay Raina now, this time over his jokes about disabled people and infants, and the Supreme Court has said that it's disturbed by these remarks that were made. Remember, this is after Alabadia got into trouble for the remarks that he made during the program, where the question was asked regarding incest, etc., and something that led to a lot of outrage. And since then, this entire show on YouTube has come under scrutiny. It's a roast show, where stand-up comedians speak, and the Supreme Court now expressing concerns about remarks made by comedian Samay Raina. Let's go across to Nupur for more. And Nupur, this show was already under scrutiny, but now it seems after viewing certain clips from the show, the Supreme Court now disturbed or concerned about certain other remarks made by Samay Raina.
Yes, of course. Today, the Supreme Court was, while hearing the Ranveer Alabadia and Ashish Chanchalani's case that has been filed, seeking clubbing of FIRs and quashing of criminal cases against them, was hearing this intervention application that has been filed by an organization named Cure SMA. Now, they have provided some of the video clippings of Samay Raina, where he has been seen making disparaging and derogatory remarks against people with disability, especially people with partial blindness. And there was this particular clip where he was seen asking an audience, where he was seen asking an audience, a lady from the audience, that if you had a 2-month-old infant and you needed a 16 crore injection to cure him from a autoimmune disease or very serious disease, then would you, if you get 16 crore, would you really want to spend those 16 crore on saving that infant? So the organization, Cure SMA, that has in fact moved the top court, said that they are working extensively to organize campaigns to arrange medicines, such expensive medicines for such special cases, to save their lives. And such derogatory remarks by Samay Raina and the likes only cause more stigma, and it harms their cause of trying to save lives of especially such people, and which includes 2-month-old infants. Now the Supreme Court has in fact expressed concern and said they are very concerned over these remarks. They said that though all the videos should be put on record, and have they in fact now ordered impleadment of Samay Raina in this ongoing case. Remember, till now Samay Raina has not been called in by the Supreme Court. It was just Ranveer Alabadia and Ashish Chanchalani who had in fact moved the top court seeking relief. Previously, the Supreme Court had in fact taken an exception of Samay Raina's comedy in Canada, where he had, went on to mock the Supreme Court hearing with regard to the India's Got Latent show. He, in fact, had later apologized also after the Supreme Court had, in fact, warned him that such disparaging comments about court proceedings, he should know about the law of the land before making such remarks, and, in fact, had issued directions that no remark should be made with regards to court proceedings. Now, in a fresh development and more trouble for comedian Samay Raina, the top court has directed for his impleadment and has taken all the videos on record where he has been seen mocking people with disability. Now, this application has, remember, sought a direction to the centre to put bring in proper regulations to make sure that such derogatory remarks are not made against people with disability and special needs when it comes to freedom of speech. So, if you remember, the Supreme Court has expanded the scope of this hearing and had asked the centre to come up with a draft regulation and a framework and consult all stakeholders. Now, this application citing Samay Raina's case, and in fact, it has also cited a clipping of cricketer Yuvraj Singh and Harbhajan Singh, where they were also seen allegedly mocking a disabled person. So, they have also cited the incidents with the cricketers also, and has said that these clippings are just a drop in an ocean, and it is really the need of the hour that the center brings in regulations where it regulates content, especially with regards to comments that are made against disabled and a person with such autoimmune diseases, serious illness. So this is in fact a very big development, and the Supreme Court Judge Justice Surya Kant said that he is in fact very disturbed by these allegations.